Look at these three maps of Kenya. Can you spot the difference? Now look at the northwestern tip of each of these three maps. The difference you see in each of them is what is likely to be the genesis of Kenya's first real quarrel with South Sudan. This is the Olami Triangle, and the government of South Sudan is claiming it back. The region measures 10,000 square kilometers, bigger than many countries across the world. But why it is important now has less to do with its size than what could be under it. Oil and mineral riches have long been thought to be in the Olami Triangle, and the discovery of oil in Gamia, about 100 kilometers away from the southern border of the Olami Triangle, strengthens those assumptions. The government of Southern Sudan wants the Olami Triangle based on its assertion that Kenya looks like this. This first picture shows Kenya at 1902. The straight line across from Lake Turkana westward was Kenya's first administrative border in that region, drawn by a British soldier named Philip Maud. But as time passed, constant attacks against the Turkana by the Toposa and Dachanes communities from southern Sudan and Ethiopia held it that the British government requested the Sudan Condominium, which had administrative power over Sudan, to redraw its boundaries to allow the King's Rifles to pursue bandits across the region, as well as for seasonal grazing of the cattle of the Turkana on both sides of the border. Thus, that tip of Kenya evolved into this. The Kenyan government would later build police posts there and assume administrative control of the region. And since before South Sudan's independence, the country had been in constant turmoil, that status quo was not challenged, up to today. Kenya's assertion of its ownership of the Olami Triangle is a treaty drawn in 1932, where Sudan ceded administrative control of the region to Kenya. Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs Richard Onyonka expressed surprise at South Sudan's move to go to the International Court for Justice over this, but said that if that was the decision that the South Sudanese had taken, then Kenya would also engage it legally. Given that this region has the potential for another three-letter word that isn't oil, war, Onyonka said that Kenya still considers South Sudan as a friendly nation. However, Onyonka also admits that security has been beefed up in the region. So will Kenya hold on to the Olami Triangle? Or like the Migingo debacle, will the public be treated to a spectacle of a government's lack of drive to protect its territorial integrity? Time and the International Court of Justice hold that answer. John Alanamu, NTV.